Welcome back to Let's Get Political. I am, of course, your host, Alicia Reese, and today we have Representative Dan Daley. He'll be answering 13 questions for us. Thank you for taking your time.
Of course.
Question 1. Who is your best friend at the Capitol?
Probably Representative Kristen Arrington from the Osceola area. It's like our work couple, right? We have each other's backs, we have the same mannerisms. Yeah. She was in here just before this. We have a nickname. It's Darrington, Daley and Arrington. Yeah, she made a graphic last session. This is serious. It's a very, it's good. She's the best person.
Who's your best friend from across the aisle?
This was probably a tie. I'd probably say Representative Tuck, Representative Botana, Representative Mooney. The list goes on. I try to make friends with everybody. I try to work across the aisle where I can. So anybody that I did not just mention, please don't be mad at me. I love you too.
What do you do when you aren't in Tallahassee and when you are in Tallahassee but not at the Capitol?
I like to hike. I don't really hike in Florida. I love it, and Florida's beautiful, but I like mountains. So I hike, I scuba dive, I boat, like long walks on the beach and bubble baths. I don't know if that was right or not. And then in Tallahassee, when I'm not here, I'm likely getting drinks with people or back at the condo, kind of probably preparing for whatever's coming the next day. Sessions like drinking out of a fire hose for 60 days. So it can be a lot. So it's nice to decompress too.
What's your favorite bill that you put forth last year?
Last year, I'd probably say it's my high school bill idea. So I run a high school bill contest every year in my district. It goes out to all the schools in Broward County. And we whittle it down. All the students submit bill ideas. We whittle it down. We pick one and we file it. And we've been able the last 3 years to actually pass it and get it into law. And so last year's bill idea was on choking and choking first aid. And so requiring school districts to put in every school cafeteria just the basics of, hey, if somebody's having a choking incident, what do you do? How do you, do the Heimlich or whatever? And so we were able to get that into law last year. So that's probably my favorite from last session. Funny enough, it's how I learned that we had a state legislature when I was in high school, because I participated in the bill contest that my boss at the time ran. And then I came up here. He hired me as his intern. I guess I made good coffee because I started as his aide about 4 months later, and then ran for local office. And now I serve in his seat. I had other plans. So I'm also an attorney, and I was going to have a military career first and then get into politics. And when I was at Florida State, I had the opportunity, like I said, to be his intern. And at 19 years old, I'm helping shape state policy. Right. And so I've been around Florida politics since 2009. I've been elected since 2012. I'm very fortunate.
What's a bill that someone else put forth that you're passionate about?
A couple sessions ago, Representative Mooney and I worked on a bill. So when I worked for the city of Coral Springs when I was in high school, I was a swim instructor and a lifeguard. So water safety has always been really important to me. Interesting factoid that you'll probably never use, but the city of Coral Springs actually has more pools per capita than any place in the southern United States. And so when you think about it, I live in South Florida, so you've got pools, you've got canals, you've got drainage ditches, you have the ocean, you have so much water, and yet so many people don't know how to swim. And so he and I together sponsored a bill that addressed swim safety and requires school districts to ask when a student's enrolled, do you know how to swim? And if not, the district's required to provide 3 to 5 low cost or no cost options to get their children swim lessons. It's really cool.
Do you live in your district?
Yes. I am, aside from being legally required to, I love Coral Springs. It's my hometown. I served on the city commission there for 7 years, and now I represent a healthy portion of it as part of my district. So yeah, I live in my district.
You're running for re-election.
Yes.
Sum up your campaign in one word.
One word. Confidence. Confidence in, it's going to sound kind of cheesy, but look, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes like everybody else. I didn't get any smarter, more attractive when I got elected. But I try to restore, people's confidence in what your elected officials should be, right? The most important thing to me in my office is constituent service. And it's whether I can help or if we can help get you to the right person, get you to the right office, fix whatever roadblock it is, fill your pothole, whatever. It's every little action helps restore that confidence, because I think confidence in government and elected officials is an all-time low. And there are some really good people in this process who are trying to do really good work.
If you win re-election, how do you realistically see Florida in the next 2 years?
We have a lot of we have a lot of things we need to work on. Property insurance is the top of that list. It doesn't matter whether I go to the condo community, Kings Point in my district, regular HOA meeting, young, old, whatever, doesn't matter. The number one issue I'm hearing about is property insurance. And so if we don't get that under control, if we don't get the housing market under control, the rental market under control, people aren't going to be able to live here anymore. And that's one of the reasons I originally ran for elected office, was to try and make sure that Coral Springs was as good, if not better, for the next generation. And if we're not doing things now to fix Florida on that larger scale, so many people aren't going to be able to be here and aren't going to be able to experience the same things that I and my family and others have experienced.
What's something about the Capitol that a lot of people don't know? A secret spot or a little known fact?
Do you follow, is it Jeff Jackson? Last year, because of his videos, I started doing, not as well, obviously, but we started kind of doing every week we do one video. And so we do it from a different place in the Capitol. We did like an MTV Cribs version, come onto the Capitol, and just kind of, he's done a really good job of trying, much like this, right? Trying to break down the barrier and just say, hey, this is what people do. This is what your government does, right? This is who they are. But my favorite place in the Capitol, I don't know if that's of any interest. My favorite place is probably the 22nd floor. One, because I'm a proud FSU grad, and so I get to see my college. But it's also a pretty quiet space during the day. So if you need to get away for a little bit and just, recharge, it's a good spot. I don't think many people, unless you go up there for an event, know about it. So I guess that's my interesting fact about the Capitol.
What's a misconception people have about your job?
I think sometimes people, kind of going back to what I said before, I think sometimes people think that we all have secret agendas, and your elected officials all have just their next stepping stone, and that's all they're focused on. And I think when you really boil it down, my title and $4 or probably $5 now get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks, right? We're just people. I don't usually use my title when I introduce myself. I'm just Dan. Good to meet you. Because I think that helps kind of show we're just people. I was raised you talk to the janitor like you talk to the CEO, right? And everybody in between. And so I think people sometimes have this misconception that, oh, well, he's elected now, do I have to address you by your title? Do I have to send you a formal email or letter or whatever? And you don't, you can reach me on Instagram, Twitter, or whatever we're calling it now, X, I guess, Facebook, and I respond to pretty much everything myself. Even emails, any of that, right? Sometimes people reach out, hey, I don't know if this is the right way, or how to, but I'm having this problem, whatever, and I'll respond myself within a couple minutes, right? And it really kind of, I think people sometimes are taken aback by that. But like I said, it's the most important thing we do. And again, I think it builds that confidence. So the misconception, I would say, is that, people are above, is sitting up in Tallahassee and they're at 30,000 feet and they can't be bothered with, no, I'm the person, just like everybody else.
If you weren't a state representative, what would you do?
I had many phases. At one point, I wanted to be a dolphin trainer. Don't judge me. There was a short stint where I wanted to be a NASCAR driver. That wasn't really legit. Never really took off. But I'd probably just be a lawyer, which I am in my day job.
What's a fun fact about your job that people don't know?
Fun fact about this job. I think people sometimes look at Washington, D.C., and they see dysfunction and they see all this other stuff. And 95% of the stuff that we vote on here in Tallahassee is unanimous, is supported by everybody, both political parties, right? We fight over the other 5%, right? And sometimes that sucks too much of the air out of the room, but we generally agree 95% of the time.
What does your perfect day include?
What does my perfect, so if I can do anything on this planet, my perfect day would include dinner with Sandra Bullock. I'm a fan. No, I'm kidding. I recently got a puppy. And so my perfect day, I think right now would include my puppy, because I miss her. A golden retriever. She is adorable. We have standardbred racehorses. And so I grew up basically, weekends, holidays, I was at the barn shoveling horse manure. So some would say it was a natural transition to this. So